So after barrier repairs carried out just off of turns 2 and 3, we get underway with our second of 2 senior Rotax finals. The grid is as follows. Mark Kimber and Lachlan Robinson will be on the front row. Just behind him on row 2 will be Lewis Gilbert and Matilda Olson. Vincent France and Charlie Turner round out the top 3 rows ahead of Teresa Babikova and Sean Butcher, with Carol Pett and Arthur Horsch rounding out the top 10 positions. Hal Finkel and Emily de Hoys, row 6. Mads Ries, Tim Mikametz, row 7. Luca Leistra, Luna Blum, row 8. Fabian Bock, Max Dominic, row 9, with Bradley Barb and Andreas Hebel rounding out the top 20. Felix Hansson and Titus Schmidli, row number 11, ahead of James Johnson, Philip Vava, Linus Hensen, Mario Sidler, Robin Knudson, Mark de Witt, Maurice Schuring, Storm Bra, Flint Schuring, Beer-Doristin, Erhard Turker, Mateo Richter, Leonie Claude and Kian Sang. And there is a definite possibility we will have a new championship leader after the sudden withdrawal due to a slip disc injury for Dylan LaHaye after yesterday's activities. Puts the double race winner on the back foot. Hopefully we'll see him back in 6 weeks at Adria. 14 minutes on the clock, plus an additional lap. Sets on the timer. Red lights are ignited on the starting gantry. Kimber and Robinson will anticipate the start. They control the pace. We come round the final corner. Revs rise. Lights go out and we are off and racing as it is 2 by 2 between the top 2 rows. But Kimber gets the initial getaway. Gilbert past Robinson as Olson looks to have dropped a few places. As Sean Butcher gets past the defending champion, as it is all for themselves. Everyone's trying to make it through and survive the first lap. So the top 3 get through. Someone runs a little bit wide. That looked to be the 3:17 of Ralf Finkel. So the drivers now will have to push as Matilda Olson goes towards the outside of Vincent France towards turn 12. As Charlie Turner now up into P4. Kimber will come round to the final corner to complete lap number 1 as the leader. Lachlan Robinson in second, being followed by Lewis Gilbert. Charlie Turner. Vincent France gets pounced on by Matilda Olson, and the Swede gets past for 5th. Mads Ries looking to steal a bit of thunder from Carol Pett and manages to get past the Polish driver for 9th place, going through into turn 4. As now Arthur Horsch definitely coming under the crossfire of those charging forward from behind. So everyone trying to make their way through. Some drivers looking to make positional gains, others using strategy, as there's a little bit of a touch there. That was the 3:37 of James Johnson that got a tap from behind. And I saw a little bit of debris fly off from the back of the 337 as a result of a slight touch from Linus Hensen, as Charlie Turner gets passed by Matilda Olson for 4th position on the inside of turn number 4. And Olson has set the fastest lap as barreling round the inside into Teresa Babikova goes Mads Ries as Luca Leistra tried to get past there too. As it is side by side outside of the top 20 through going turn number 6. Babikova looks over the left shoulder to see as we had someone go off. And that is Lewis Gilbert. So Lewis Gilbert drops right down the order behind Erhard Turker. So Robinson in second, trying to chase down Lachlan Robinson. as everyone else. And it looks like it was an incident possibly involved. Well, Flint Schuring and Titus Schmidli have also dropped. Leonie Claude is out before the race has really gotten started. So the French driver in the 323 has retired. But Robinson closing on Kimber. Robinson scored 5 points at Genk, and Robinson's got the lead through the inside of turn 11. Nicely done by the UAE-based driver based out of Dubai. He's got past Mark Kimber. Very, very respected and very, very hard charging within karting circles. He joined us at the Winter Cup back at Karting Campos in late February. Now Kimber returns the favour through turn 3 as they hurtle their way through the right-hand sweeper. This is allowing Matilda Olsson to close. And Mads Rees, in the meantime, has set the fastest lap of the race. A 50.285 from the Dane, currently running behind Vincent France at the minute. The Dane from Dams Racing starting to close. Behind them, they've got Teresa Babikova and Carol Kret, Ralf Winkel, Artur Horsch, Luca Leistra. And Felix Jansson looks to have been passed by Emily de Hoys from the Netherlands. So the 339 with JJ Racing now up a further position, puts her 13th. Olsson is starting to go towards the front in customary fashion, and she sets the fastest lap of 50.082. Exactly 80 thousandths quicker than Kimber, who's still leading. Top 3 covered by just under 6.5 tenths of a second, as Sean Butcher has got past Charlie Turner for 4th place. Vincent France and Mads Rees now join the 4-cart battle. 9 minutes and 17 seconds still to go. Maurice Schuring gets past Linus Hansen for 20th. Lewis Gilbert, unfortunately, has dropped way to the back of the order, and I'm not too sure if the Scot is going to be taking any further part. That has really hurt him, because he came into this race with 24 points. As it is definitely getting very, very quick, and in terms of the positional changes, as Charlie Turner loses out to Vincent France through turn 4. Mads Rees now trying to go up the Brit and goes side by side through turn 6, makes the move and gets past. So Charlie Turner drops from 5th to 7th. Kian Sang up to 26th. Philip Vaver up to 21st behind Maurice Schuring, who completes the top 20. Drivers that are currently in the top 15 who will provisionally score points are Kimber, Robinson, Olsson, Butcher, France, Rees, Turner, Babikova, Kret, Winkel, Horsch, Leistra, De Hoys, Jansson and Tim Mika Metz rounding out the top 15. Lap 7 completed. Top 3 covered by 0.481 seconds as Sean Butcher goes quicker than anybody else, as the Brit based out of London in the 349 seems to have got his stride back, and he's pushing forward like crazy. As we've had the 316 of Flint Schuring being handed a 5-second penalty for a collision. He caused the collision earlier on, and that has really changed not just his race, but that puts him, well, he's 34th anyway behind Vid Doristin. He now has to try and make up some time, but it may not help him in terms of the running order of things. So Kimber still leading. Robinson 3rd. Olsson still in 4th place. 3rd place. Butcher in 4th. Vincent France a little bit further adrift, and is being chased down by Mads Rees. Charlie Turner not too far behind the Danish driver in the 379. So Kimber still leads. Lachlan Robinson still is keeping within around 3/10 of a second away from the Brits. Olsson just 2/10 behind the 326 from the UAE. It is about who wants it the most, who is going to push it to the limit of adhesion. We're over half-time as we approach 6 minutes and a quarter still to go. Sean Butcher still trying to push like crazy. He's just under 0.6 of a second behind Matilda Olsson, who continues to round out the top three. Vincent France still ahead of Mads Ries and Charlie Turner. As now Luna Blum has now dropped all the way down to 34th. A sterling effort from the 3:19 after that hefty impact yesterday in one of the initial heats for Senior Rotax. And by golly, did she come back fighting. P5 in the second heat and P11, due to the pain starting to sort of slightly take over the survival, provide the survival mechanism just to get to the end of the race and score those crucial points. So Luna Blum is out, unfortunately, and I spot the driver just off of the on the marshalling post, just off of turn number 8. Butcher is closing. The top 4 now covered by just under a second. And whilst this is happening, Sean Butcher has set the fastest lap of the race. Vincent France and Mads Ries are within 20 thousandths of each other in terms of the last lap pace that they were setting. Lap 11 now completed as Matilda Olsson goes and now takes back the fastest lap with a 49.810. And all of the top 4 drivers make that the top 5 with Vincent France and then Mads Ries. All of them are running in the 49.8 second bracket, with Olsson the quickest ahead of Sean Butcher by just 11 thousandths. And it is about those slight increments of time. And if you can make sure that you're that fraction of a second ahead of the opposition, you've got a chance of moving forward and actually pulling away from the person behind. But I've just spotted that Butcher is trying to close on Olsson. So Carol Kret in 9th position ahead of Ralph Finkel is the fastest driver out there as Mads Ries looks towards the inside of Vincent France for P5. He tried through turn 4, he's made it through on turn 6. Charlie Turner has been closing on them at the meantime, and he's just putting the 49.849. And we've got a 5-second penalty now being handed to the 3:08 of Ehad Turka. So 3 minutes and 20 still to go, plus a lap. The top 7, maybe even make that the top 11 drivers. Causing a collision was the reason for the 5-second penalty for Ehad Turka. As now, Sean Butcher has got past Matilda Olsson. And by my approximate calculations, at the moment, this really tightens things up at the sharp end of the tree in terms of the points. Because when you consider where Mark Kimber is, if he takes a double win, he gets 50 points. That puts him level with Dylan LaHaye. Lachlan Robinson will go in with 45 points after this round to Adria. That puts him in prominence. Matilda Olsson, if she finishes behind Sean Butcher will be a point ahead. Well, actually, make that, he'll be a point behind. Hang on, sorry, a point. I'm just getting my maths wrong here. He will be 2 points ahead, but then Matilda Olsson will have a 5-point advantage in just 6 weeks' time. So Luna Blum, yep, is confirmed obviously by the timing, but earlier on, yep, she was confirmed as a retirement on lap number 8 of this race. Kimber still keeping his cool, staying calm, not giving an opportunity, not doing any unforced errors that might cause him a a drama that might see him lose the victory. 1 minute and 16 seconds on the clock still to go. Matilda Olsson is still fighting back, and she's closed on Sean Butcher. And the Swede based out of Uppsala now puts in a 49.711. Butcher still hanging on to third for the moment, but time is fast running out. Because if Matilda Olsson takes third from Sean Butcher, that gives her 16 points and gives her an 8-point advantage going to Italy. But nevertheless, no matter how it finishes, but I'm sure that Matilda Olsson will be the one that wants to push forward. And it's not just her, it's the three in front that are doing their utmost to bring themselves in to the title fight dynamic that we now have on the cards. Now on the penultimate lap. They come through into turns 9, into the left at 10. The timer will expire as they will approach turn 12 very shortly. So Mark Kimber, Lachlan Robinson, Sean Butcher and Matilda Olsson will now get the final lap board, as will Mads Riis, who rounds out the top 5. So final lap we go on to. Mark Kimber leads, and it is closed up dramatically between the top 4. Because if one gets the run coming out of turns 13 and 14, they could get that slipstream advantage that they so desperately need, as Sean Butcher is the one that's coming under fire big time by Matilda Olsson. But it is about who blinks first, who goes for it, or who wants to consistently score relevant points. Checkered flag will now be prepared, and it will wait. Who is going to win? It looks like it's game on in the title fight, as the 387 of Mark Kimber from Great Britain does the double here in Wackersdorf, and he knows it. One hand in the air. Lachlan Robinson brings himself into the title fight big time by taking second. Sean Butcher takes third, also bringing him to the party, and Matilda Olsson will, provisionally speaking, have a 5-point advantage after this race, putting her as the new leader of the standings. Mads Riis will also factor in now, because he will go on to 43 points, having taken 5th place. Vincent France in 6th, ahead of Charlie Turner, Teresa Babikova, Karol Kret. Luca Leistra rounds out the top 10. Ralf Winkel, Arthur Horsch, Emily de Hoys, Felix Jansson and Tim Mikametz are the 15 provisional point scorers in this race. James Johnson and Bradley Barrett were just outside in 16th and 17th respectively. Philip Vaber, Maurice Schering, Max Stemmerink round out the top 20. Storm Brouwer, Fabian Bock, Andreas Hebard, Linus Hansen and Kian Sang round out the top 25. Then it is Mario Sidler, Robin Knutsson, Peter Schmidli, Flint Schering, Bartavit, Vid Doristin, Matteo Richter, with Luna Blum, Lewis Gilbert and Leonie Claude unfortunately retiring. But breaking news, the title lead switches to the hands of